Let's talk about the mother and father wound. The left side of your body represents a mother wound, and the right side of your body represents a father wound. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please click the little subscribe button, the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I'm Candace Dell. I've been working as a spiritual coach and mentor for the last 12 years. I have many online courses. I do live courses. I have a monthly membership called The Truth Room, and I do one-on-one coaching and couples coaching. This topic has been coming up a lot lately. I just got off my Truth Room call, and we were talking about how the body actually does keep the score, but what that means is I can actually depict where in your body there's an inner child wound. So I want to explain some of this to you because this is really interesting, and I'm going to use some client examples without mentioning names because they came up this week and they were amazing. So the first thing to know is if you have an ailment on the left side of your body, it is a mother wound. It is directly linked to that if you're looking at the spiritual understanding, right? So like if I used to have this issue during my long COVID journey where my left arm would go numb. And what's so interesting is my mother was going through a similar thing on the other side of her body. And we always have that, which is strange. But the left side would go numb. And I would think to myself, the left side is linked to the right side of the brain, which is what? Creativity, right brain people. I'm 100% a right brain person, but I also have some left brain in me. But what that was telling me is, what are you not creating? What are you stuck in? What are you stifling? And what I did is a deep dive into my inner child again, as I often do. And what came forward for me was that next level. And I talked about it a lot last year, and now I feel like I'm living into it. But it was that next level of really healing any and all, or facing any and all fear to shine even brighter, to really finally claim the bigger things you came here to do. And so that actually numbing went away. And it went away as I started to discover what was going on, as I started to give it attention. Kind of like a little kid who's crying when they're hungry and you give them a little snack and you say, hey, I'll be right back, and they stop crying so much. That's how our body works too, because it is an emotional, physical being, and it's energetic. And so if you have anything on the right side of or the left side of your body, it is a mother wound. So ask yourself, am I twitching on the left side? Am I numb on the left side? Does my left ankle always get broken? Do I have issues with all the things? And then different areas of your body also align with that, which I'll give you an example in a second. So if it's your right side of your body, it's a father wound. Left brain, right side, right? Father wound. What's going on? You always have weakness in your right leg. You always have, what is it? It's your right ovary if you're a female, right? What is it that's going on? It's not something you might be conscious of, but it's something that needs to be addressed. So even if you don't know, you can say to yourself, okay, let me focus on my abandonment wounds with my dad. Let me focus on that anger that's stored in there, the things that I haven't said. That will be a throat chakra issue. If you have issues speaking the truth, or there's something you need to speak into or live in alignment with, you will have some issues right here, right? You get choked up, you cough a lot, you feel stuck, you feel stagnant. There's a pain in your throat. Many people have a pain in their heart, and you're like, well, which side of the body is it? It can be all of it, right? So this interesting story happened today in one of my sessions where a client, and I was writing down, I already knew it was so interesting how I can like tune into people when I see them. And he was telling me about, it was the left side, and it was in his teeth. And I immediately thought, left side mother wound, wisdom teeth. And he literally said to me, I didn't even know I had wisdom teeth. I had to get my wisdom teeth pulled. And I was like, I know, this is a total mother wound. Tell me about your mother. Tell me about your relationship with your mother. And he was like, oh my goodness, right? So we went into it. And I said, you know, when we have, let's say a wisdom tooth, let's say it's your mother's side, wisdom tooth. Your mother is supposed to be the one to show you the wisdom. And if there is a issue with that, or there was stifling in that dynamic, or there is a communication issue, or it was just conditional or inconsistent, your body is now asking you for your own wisdom to really balance the feminine and the divine in the masculine and the feminine. So my protocol for him was, let's get in touch with your wisdom. And he started telling me how that's exactly what's happening in his life. He's going through Saturn returns, which everyone finds me before or after or during their Saturn returns, either the first Saturn returns between 28 and 32, 33, sometimes 34, or the second around 57 years old. Because that is when we are called back to our inner child to do the work so that we can actually live our complete purpose, what we came here to do in the right alignment. So that was one client. Then I had another client who was telling me about this big sort of pain and stuckness in her neck. And I also noticed as this client was talking that she's very into how she presents herself and performs over just showing up naturally and authentically. And I asked her, is there an issue in your home growing up or now where you can't just show up as you are? Messy, not feeling so great. Maybe you have like some emotional issue today. And she's like, absolutely, I can't do that. I've never been able to do that. I don't know that I'm worthy enough to just exist. And then as she started talking further, there's some guilt around moving away from the family. And before she told me that, I said to her, hold on, when I tune into your neck, I can feel like this heavy guilt. Is there some heavy guilt? She says, yes. And I know that the neck and spine and the back are always linked to support. They support. Our spine supports our frame. And I said, do you feel guilty about leaving them because you have to support them to survive? Now, you're not going to know that if you're an adult. You're not going to mentally be like, oh, I need them to survive. But your inner child still feels that if that is a pattern from your childhood. And I said, do you feel guilt about leaving them because they need your support to survive versus leaving them to support yourself to actually thrive? And she was like, that's exactly it. I said, yes. So what's happening is it's knotted up here because it's a double-edged sword. If I basically forego my own needs to support them to survive, I'll be safe. But if I do that, I won't be safe being who I truly am, supporting myself. And I said to her, there's a door number 3 here. Choose yourself, support yourself, and then you'll be more able to support others. But see, growing up, it was us or nothing, this or nothing. Trauma is expressed in opposites and extremes. It's also black and white thinking. So if I support them, I can't have a self. If I support me, I can't have them. And I said, actually, if you support the truth of who you are, you can have it all. Because the truth is abundant. And I said, as you start working this process, and I gave her homework and a writing assignment, as you start to do these visualizations, what's going to happen over time is this is going to start to heal when you start to make peace with the fact that you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You have to actually be both feet into both, to everything, right? There's such a scarcity mindset where it's like this or that. If I choose wrong, I'm going to die. And I'm like, life is about discovering. We don't ever get everything right away. What is that? But so many of us have that wound. If I get it wrong, there's something wrong with me. I can't make mistakes because then. And the other thing that we're so afraid of, why things get stuck in our body, is we're afraid to have negative emotion. Because when we were younger, we were trying to express what we felt through our behavior, and our behavior got rejected, abandoned, punished. So we learned that our emotions were bad. So if we have bad emotions, we're bad. So then we deflect our emotions. And when we deflect and reject and deny and put our emotions in our shadow, we're putting part of our identity in the frickin' shadow. So then we're searching externally. It's not as important to figure out if it's a mother or father wound. It's important to figure out that it is one. It's something I have to work on. So if you can't pinpoint what it is, but you know what you feel, go into the feeling, and the feeling will reveal what the truth is. Give the feeling a voice. So the neck issue is very common. The back issues are very common because so many of us as children were given the wrong role. We had to support them emotionally. We had to support them, maybe financially and physically at a young age. We didn't really get to be the kid that we were here to be, so we feel like we're not even worthy of our own existence. Take that in. So if I'm not worthy of my own existence and I need to do these things to get their approval so I can feel worthy, then I'm stuck in a double-edged sword. We don't need anyone's approval to be worthy. We're already approved by God. We just have to self-approve. We have to validate our own emotions and say, of course I feel this way. Of course that would make sense. Of course I have this neck issue. Of course I have this wisdom tooth issue. What can I do to fill myself? Not what can I do to manipulate situations to get them to like me and change myself and give up my, needs and boundaries. But instead, what can I do? My dog is snoring. What can I do to fill this within myself? And the first thing I say is go to source. I always say that. Go to God because God is your divine mother and father. Mother, Father, God. That is the consistent, unconditional support that you need to be able to facilitate the true support within yourself. So, if you guys have not done shadow work, I'm just going to remind you my shadow work course is 30% off until Sunday. Code is MOM30, and you can get all those links in the description. It's a game changer. We have to do the shadow work, so not only can we learn to be in our shine, but we learn to not fear our shadow, but face it so that it can integrate, so we can be whole. And the more we integrate, the higher our frequency goes, the more alignment we have, the more synchronicities we have, and the more whole we get to feel. The less affected by our conditions and environment and other people's opinions and other people's emotions and moods, and the more we're really strong and anchored in the self. If you guys have any questions about this, feel free to comment below. Please check out my website for anything that you may want to find as far as classes, courses, coaching. Please go find me on Instagram, say hello, send me a DM. Please share this video with at least one person you think it could feel that it could heal. Feel to heal. I love you guys. I hope you're having a great week. I'll see you soon.